Woohoo! We're on the internets. Tech, twice weekly, episode number 8. Welcome to Tech Twice Weekly for August 18th, 2014. My name is Ben White, and welcome to the show. This is a technology news podcast bringing you the latest headlines and discussing them twice a week, every Monday and Thursday, about 8 p.m. Pacific time. I want to start off by apologizing for missing an episode last Thursday. I ran into some technical issues which prevented recording the show, but everything is mostly back on track now, so we're basically good to go. Enough to get an episode out anyway. You may notice there's no intro music and no exit music at the end of the show, but don't worry about that. Just pretend it's there. Go back to the last episodes and listen to it there. It'll be back next episode, but don't worry about it for this episode. Just pretend. Anyway, so for this episode, I know it's a curveball, I know it's a surprise, but I'm welcoming back my guest and good friend, Eric Fee. How's it going, man?
What's up?
Not a whole lot. How was your weekend?
It was pretty groovy, actually. I went camping, and this is Oregon, so that's kind of what we do.
Nice. I'm actually thinking of trying to pull together a late season, mid-September camping trip, and seeing if I can get away with it.
Well, let me know when you're going. I'll have to go with you.
I will, definitely. So, we're already a quarter past the hour here, so let's jump into the headlines and get going, I suppose, huh? I'll take that as a yes.
Mongo-like.
So, GigaOM is reporting on leaked details for the new HP Stream 14, a low-priced Windows laptop set to take a bite out of the Chromebook market. It's expected to start at $199, and this low-priced HP Windows laptop will sport an energy-efficient AMD processor and 2 gigabytes of memory, as well as an option for a 32 gigabyte or 64 gigabyte SSD. It will also have the expected Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and USB connectivity. Along with running Windows 8.1, the laptop will include 100 gigabytes of OneDrive storage free for 2 years. Currently, there's no release date announced from HP. Do you have any interest in this Windows Chromebook?
Well, it sounds like a Chromebook with just Windows installed instead to me, but I like the low-cost laptops coming back. We had that netbook kind of fad going for a while. It seems to be returning with in the form of the Windows tablets, the x86 tablets, and the small low power consumption laptops. So this is effectively a netbook from 5 years ago.
With a little more power under the hood, I'd say.
Well, yeah, 5 years worth of more power, which is excellent. I like the idea that you can get a laptop you can get some work done on, and that will run on battery for a while for a low price. I don't know if it'll really bite into the Chromebook market like they say, because most people buy Chromebooks because they want a Chromebook, not because they want something that's inexpensive. The inexpensive part is the bonus. But this is good for the less wealthy of us who still want to have a current machine they can watch YouTube on and all that.
Definitely, yeah. I think it has its place. I agree. I'm not sure if it's really going to affect the Chromebook market. I think the audiences are kind of two different people. But I definitely will consider one once it comes out and all the various customization options are out there. Because I am in the market for a new laptop, and I think if I can get away with something that's small enough that maybe I can still record audio on the go with, that would be really awesome.
Well, yeah, it seems to me like just effectively a x86 8.1 tablet, but with a keyboard attached and a bigger battery.
Exactly. That's a good way to look at it. Our next story here is Android Police covering the leaked news on Google's newest service, Music Key. The new YouTube-related service is set to include Google Play Music being rebranded to Google Play Music Key, which will include ad-free music and offline music playback. This is currently rumored to be offered at $9.99 per month after an initial 30-day free trial. The merger of the services between Google's Music Library and YouTube means subscribers will also have access to both discographies as well as live concert videos and backstage footage. Unfortunately, among all these leaked details, there's still no release date. So for now, if this sounds good to you, you'll just have to keep waiting for an official announcement. Does this sound like something you would sign up for, Eric?
Possibly. I'd love to give it a try. 30-day trial is kind of attractive since I have an Android phone and I'm pretty into the Google services right now.
Are you currently a Google Music subscriber?
I have. No, I'm not. Although I have been thinking about giving it a shot. All this Google Music and Music Key sound a lot like the old Zune service where you could get access to the whole library of music for a fee, for a monthly fee. And I think that when Microsoft made that attempt at a music as a subscription service, they were really doing a great job at it. The only problem was you had to have a Microsoft device.
Right.
And they weren't very popular, even though the quality was supposedly pretty high even back then. And people weren't really ready for it. But as we can see now with the popularity of Google Music, I think people are becoming ready for it. And having a Google device is much more likely than having a Windows device. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. ZDNet's Mary Jo Foley is reporting that while still a ways away from a production release, sources that requested to remain nameless have indicated that Microsoft's newest operating system, currently codenamed Threshold, will be releasing a tech demo for public accessibility in late September or early October. This tech demo is expected to show off many changes and new features, including a new mini start menu, windowed Metro-style applications, virtual desktops, and the removal of the much bemoaned Charms bar. There are also rumors that Microsoft's virtual voice assistant, Cortana, may be included in the OS as well. Are you thinking you're going to jump on this tech preview?
Well, I'd like to give it a try in a virtual machine, that's for sure. I use Windows 7 at home and at work. I own a copy of Windows 8, but I haven't really been ready to make the leap, mostly because some of the changes they made aren't really aligned with what I like in a desktop environment, although a lot of people are very happy with how Windows 8 has changed since it's released. I'm looking forward to seeing how they reconcile the desktop experience and the mobile experience and can hopefully make improvements to both, leaving us more satisfied with our desktops and hopefully having new features for the more powerful Windows tablets coming out.
Definitely, and I think seeing a new OS come out without Steven Sinofsky being involved is going to be interesting. Be great to see what Satya Nadella's new Windows takes shape and looks like. From everything I've understood, it's really leaning towards going back to splitting up the tablet and touch interface concepts away from the desktop PC. So we're going back to having a lot of those things, like a Charms bar concept, tucked away and hidden unless Windows recognizes that you're actually using a touchscreen-enabled device.
I think that would be most optimal. And don't forget, although Sinofsky is gone, they do have Bill Gates on tap now. So they kind of brought the master back for consultation, which may have some influences on what we might see in this new operating system.
That's a very good point. Would be kind of curious to see if any of the development credits give a nod of the hat to influences he may have had on the final product. The next web brings us news on Twitter's most recent user experiment involving turning tweets favorited by users into notifications on their followers' timelines, as well as notifications about who your followers are following. The experiment itself apparently began several weeks ago, but recently Twitter increased the number of users involuntarily taking part. The reaction has not been exactly positive. Many Twitter users have tweeted outrage and frustration about the extra notifications filling up their timeline. In addition to this experiment, there are rumors that Twitter may also be considering changing the timeline to a Facebook-like algorithm, selecting displayed content for the user and potentially hiding tweets that the algorithms feel don't fit or aren't relevant. TechCrunch is covering the purchase of the Bitcoin blockchain explorer website, Blocker.io, by the Bitcoin wallet and merchant payment processing company Coinbase. For those not keeping up with Bitcoin, the blockchain is a public ledger where all the various Bitcoin transactions are documented. According to Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, they're primarily purchasing the company because of their talented staff. He also said that the Blocker.io service would remain running, but may be rebranded under Coinbase. The Register has the news that Minecraft creator Marcus Pearson, better known to the internet as Notch, has announced that he is done being upset about Facebook's purchase of the Oculus Rift virtual reality headset. After initially tweeting that he would never let his game Minecraft be released on the Oculus Rift following the announcement of it being sold to Facebook, Notch has followed up on the matter with a recent tweet stating, "I'm officially over being upset about Facebook buying Oculus. I'm upset about there being a hole in my favorite sock instead." So, with the internet rage behind us, the only real question left is how long until there's a beta build available to test it out. And just as a personal comment, I'd like to take a moment and speak directly to Notch and the Oculus Rift development team. I just want to say, if you guys want to win PAX Prime at the end of August, I'm just going to suggest that a surprise hands-on demo that gets rushed out and is available on the floor at PAX might be the only thing people are talking about. Just say it. Just throwing it out there. Feel free to use that idea. So, Eric, what do you think? Are you interested in the Oculus Rift and Minecraft possibly being a thing together?
I'm less interested about Minecraft than I am the Oculus Rift. I'm glad to see that they've come out with their second development kit, which looks more refined and has more of the latest developments wrapped up.
Including the higher 1080p displays, too.
Correct. And also, I read a news article today, I believe, where I'm just quoting this from memory, and I didn't really read all of the article. I was busy, but I believe it said something about John Carmack offering to develop the Minecraft port for the Oculus Rift, which may have been a bridge that helped kind of draw Notch back in. And looking at, I don't follow the Oculus Rift news religiously, but I keep tabs on it whenever I can. Looking at how they've progressed, it doesn't look like the Facebook purchase has really had much of an effect. And that's good. A lot of people were speculating that there would be like Facebook branded mumbo jumbo, but it looks to be like they might just be attempting to invest and diversify less than control the product, which in my opinion would be the best business decision as well. Because when you have something this hot and interesting and possibly game changing, you want to let the developers who are the great minds behind it kind of run wild and run amok to make sure that they get everything done that they can. Few people are as perfectionist as hardware developers.
Definitely true, yeah. And I think you make a good point that at the end of the day, the biggest thing is seeing where this goes. Minecraft might be one application, and I think if it's great if it gets out there and maybe that inspires somebody else to do something else. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure I'm really going to want to be swinging a pickaxe, or it'll be a novelty. I don't see it being the way everyone now plays Minecraft. I think it'll be a good party trick. It'll be great in groups, perhaps, but I don't think it's going to be anything like the purpose of the Oculus Rift. I think it's really underutilizing what it's capable of.
I think it'll be fun, which is the heart of Minecraft, is just to be fun. But there are hopefully a lot of potential applications for Oculus Rift that will um, really bring a whole new feeling to gaming, and not just gaming, but I think that there are other general computational uh, solutions that Oculus Rift uh, can provide. Um, I mean, you imagine a desktop in the sense of a single monitor, but when you're head tracking and using like virtual desktops and have a complete and encompassing view, the amount of content that can be consumed is going to be very high. So I'm looking forward to seeing some really interesting developments that aren't gaming related for the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. I think a lot of people get caught up in the gaming potentials for Oculus Rift, and I think there's a lot of actual everyday use cases that are almost more impressive realistically. So, with that, those are our headlines for today. So, I want to jump over to our newest segment, Tech Toys You Wish You Could Buy. And this week I've got a couple to look at. The first one I've stumbled across, which I thought was really interesting, is a new concept to revolutionize the basic padlock. The product is called No Key, and it is a smart padlock that uses Bluetooth enabled phones to unlock the padlock instead of using a key. The concept is that you program the padlock and pair it with your phone using their application, and when you go to unlock the padlock by pressing the lock at the top down, it sends a request over Bluetooth to look for a authorized device nearby. Assuming it finds the device will then send the key back to the padlock, unlocking the padlock. As a backup, in case your cell phone's missing or the battery's dead or for whatever reason it's not working, the padlock also has a optional push button release where you can program in a Morse code like pattern to allow you to unlock the device without any sort of phone requirement whatsoever. Another great feature of the product is that you can share access to the padlock with other users of the application, and you can limit their access to a scheduled period. So someone could perhaps maybe you're going to let someone into a storage locker is one of the examples used in their introduction video, and maybe you only want them to have access for the day, so you set that up so after 24 hours after whenever you set it, they no longer can get access to your padlock anymore. Of course, it's still susceptible to the traditional problem of the padlock. I mean, somebody with a pair of bolt cutters is still going to be able to cut this sucker off. But overall, I think this is a really nice basic improvement to the traditional padlock. It's actually something I'm strongly considering backing myself. Currently, you can get in to the Kickstarter for the product. Let me take a look here. Right now, they're offering for $60, $59 or more, you can get in at the reduced Kickstarter price, which is $30 off of retail, and that includes free shipping in the US. What do you think of this no key idea, Eric? Is this something you think you'd have any use for?
I think it could be interesting for like a bicycle or something maybe, but I padlocks already have a number of security issues as it is, uh, and making that electronic just changes the boundaries. I also don't like the idea of a padlock being susceptible to interference or battery life issues. So there's that.
Are you talking about battery life of your phone or battery life of the padlock itself?
The padlock. Um, my phone is usually charged up most of the time, and I don't really have a huge use for padlocks to begin with, so I'm not really the target audience. But there are also many interesting ways to use devices that do similar things already. For example, in the automated home space, you can have devices that register Bluetooth proximity, or that use NFC and management applications to unlock your home or your garage, or raise your garage door, many other things. Um, and anywhere where you can have a padlock, you can also always leave it unlocked or not leave it locking what it should be. So the whole like multi-user time-based access kind of feels like it's a little bit gimmicky. Where if you are using a multi-user like uh, storage storage unit, or they had like a storage locker, you could always just not lock it again, and it wouldn't matter how many users have access to it, or how long they're limited their access is.
Right, but if you leave an lock unlocked, it's going to leave the potential for someone you don't want access to gain access to the locker too.
Well, that's true, but if you're a secondary user, you may not be as concerned.
But the last thing I want is to, tell my buddy he's going to swing by my storage locker at 3 o'clock and pick up something that's there, and so I leave it unlocked at 10 o'clock on my way into work, and then just have my unlocked storage locker open for the next several hours until my buddy's getting there.
Well, I was thinking the reverse. Like you give access to unlock it, and they don't lock it again, or they lock it incorrectly, not fulfilling its purpose. I mean, if my buddy needed to get into a locker that I had access to, I could let them use the spare key.
Right, but and I can see that. I mean, that's been traditional for years, but
Or
the
the combination.
problem this is trying to solve is the need to share physical keys. I mean, if your buddy loses that key, you're now down one key, or you have a single key for your padlock.
Well, that's true, but getting another key cut's not exactly difficult.
No, but it isn't a step that this padlock removes the necessity for.
But it increases the necessity for, you know, possible electronic entry, software hacking, and not only that, but batteries.
Yeah, I mean, battery is a possible concern. They do quote in their Kickstarter that the battery is rated to last over 1 year with normal use. It is a user replaceable battery, so it's something that can be replaced. It's just a simple watch battery, so that's always, at least it's something they've taken into consideration. And they mentioned in their Kickstarter as well that even in the event um, the battery were to completely drain while locked, there is a method to unlock it with a pin of some kind while it's locked, which isn't gone into very much detail, but that is the only part I'm really suspect about is this small loophole built in to allow you to unlock it once the battery has died. I feel like that is probably the biggest security concern I'd have with the lock overall.
Yeah, I think so as well, because what stops someone from removing the battery and then using this method, or causing the battery to be drained prematurely and using the method and then using the unlock method or whatever.
Well,
Um,
and realistically, there's always the problem every padlock has. A simple, $20 pair of bolt cutters from your local hardware store is going to get through it.
well, I mean, it depends. Not There are many, consumer padlocks that are extremely difficult to break with bolt cutters. Um, wherein the fact that you would need an actual like carbide cutting wheel or something to get through it.
But overall, like I said, I may back this. I'm still on the fence. I've got it tagged here to alert me when they get down to 40 hours left in their campaign. Just checking on the stats here. Currently, the campaign has been open for a little over 24 hours, and they are over their goal. Originally a $100,000 goal, and as of right now, they're at $105,716. So they've made their goal already with 29 days left to go in the campaign, and that's with 1,076 backers. So there's definitely the campaign's going to happen. They're going to get produced. For me, it's just a question of whether I want to drop $60 on funding this kind of beta project, or if I want to wait for retail and catch some reviews and see how it really turns out. The other product I have for us to consider here is a heads-up display for your car called the NavD. It's a kit that pairs over Bluetooth with your smartphone for use in a vehicle to show notifications from your phone. Everything from navigation, maps, and turn-by-turn direction to incoming calls can be taken on it. Text messages can be read and sent using voice over the device. And it's all done by projecting using a small Pico projector from the device onto your windshield, which allows you to keep your focus on the road as you're looking through the notifications rather than looking down at your phone or off to the side at a traditional GPS. And I'm really curious about this. The price tag's a little bit high. They're saying it's going to ship for $499, but you can pre-order one right now through their website for $299 at the moment. Like I said, it's a little steep, but it's kind of tempting at the same time. I know you use your phone a lot in the car, Eric. Is this something you'd be interested in at all?
Possibly. I was actually surfing Garmin's website a few weeks ago looking for a possible GPS unit for my motorcycle, because GPS on a motorcycle is notoriously difficult. But interestingly enough, Garmin offers a similar unit, which costs about $150, and it has the capability of showing your speed and distance speed, distance, and time until your next turn, and the turn direction and a little bit of information there, and how far you are through your route. And that does not seem like it really compares because it has lots of other functions, but the Garmin Bluetooth units have the same type of functions. They can receive calls, send texts, get notifications. So if you had a Garmin and a Garmin head-up display, you'd effectively be solving the same problem, and that can be had for much less money. That can be had for somewhere around $250 or less. And of course, Garmin maps are pretty good, and their navigation software is pretty good. So, if you want, you could go that way. And although Google Maps does have lots of neat features and the instant updates that Garmin does not, anyone who's used a standalone GPS device like a Garmin can tell you that they also have many dedicated functions and a few less hassles than using your phone to navigate. I actually recently purchased a Jeep, which I have mentioned, I think, last time we shot. And it actually has a really nice Pioneer head unit, which supports navigation and phone linking. So that solves those kinds of problems. But as far as the heads-up display, I'm always kind of glancing around at mirrors and my gauges and all that. So, which you should be. If you don't watch your gauges, bad things can happen, such as you might overheat, or you might be revving too high because your transmission might not be going into the right gear, or you might just be speeding. So I don't think that this unit will solve all the problems that it's thinking it's solving, because taking your eyes off the gauges of your car can cause problems.
That's true, definitely. But at the same time, I mean, I think most drivers take their eyes off their dash gauges pretty frequently to watch the road. I mean, let's be honest. the gauges are important, but watching the road has to be the most important thing while you're driving. And the advantage to this is that it is right in front of your line of sight, which the Garmin heads-up unit is similar, although looking at the marketing photos for both the NavD and the Garmin unit, it does appear that the NavD offers a little bit more detailed information. I mean, like I say, from the marketing information, who knows what reality will be once this device ships, but from the marketing photos, there appears to be colored navigation for the roads. Not to mention, there is hand gestures that can be done to control the device, and you can actually, like I said, speak to it and send text messages and add calendar appointments. All of those details, anything really realistically supported by your phone's voice commands, could be done through the NavD device. And the Garmin heads-up display, while seeming very functional, seems very basic at the same time.
I agree, but also, kind of hand gestures and all this futzing around with it also kind of detracts from the safety, where, as one would say, they should have their eyes on the road, they should also have their hands on the wheel. And hopefully while driving, people are alert and paying attention to what's going on ahead of them, you also must constantly scan your mirrors and your rear view to understand what's going on behind you. You must constantly check your gauges, And the thing is when you check your gauges on your mirrors, you're really only doing that for partial of a second every few minutes, and you're not really detracting a whole lot. And although one should not speed and one should be aware of how quick they're going, they also need to make sure that they're being fluid and acting natural with traffic so that they're not causing problems.
Well, it sounds like you're coming from an angle where maybe you're not as big a phone in the car user as I take you to be. I mean, I know you listen to music off your phone and stuff, but by and large, when it comes to notification,
It looks like we are having technical difficulties, unfortunately. Our host, Ben, dropped out.
Oh, hey, I'm back. Look at that. Thank you, Google. Can you hear me? Am I back live with the world?
You are, sir. You are.
Excellent. Well, what I was trying to get at before Google apparently decided that didn't want me to share that opinion was that it sounded like you're not as big of an in-car cell phone user as I may have thought. That maybe you prefer to just leave notifications be until you get to where you're going and deal with them then, which arguably is the safest way to use a cell phone, if not unrealistic by the masses, but definitely the safest.
Well, I have integrated with my Bluetooth integrated with my stereo, so I can answer phone calls when I'm on the road, which is of course excellent, and I do so with the hands-free devices, which is of course hopefully safer. And I will check navigation if I'm coming up soon, or if I'm at a stoplight, I may check my notifications briefly. But I do really think it's best to kind of leave the phone alone as much as possible, because every second really does count. Sometimes you'll need to be alert for those crucial moments when you're on the road, and even just kind of willy-nilly not being an active participant can cause traffic problems and can cause slowness on the road. And of course, I would much rather get to my destination quicker and safer and then answer the notifications than answer the notifications on the road while causing disruptions.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that has to be the most important thing. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our discussion topics. We're running a little bit long today, but since we didn't have an episode for last Thursday, not too worried about it. But we'll go ahead and get into our discussions now and try and get things going here. So one interesting story that I came across while putting together our rundown was a story from Engadget covering a plugin for Minecraft, which adds the ability to learn to program while you're playing. Being not, I can't even call myself a programmer. I've written some PHP and some HTML here or there, Java technically for a class. Not that I could actually write it again if you put a gun to my head. But I know you actually write a lot of code, Eric, as your day job as well as for fun as a hobby. When you took a look at this, what did you think of the idea about learning to write code using something like Minecraft as a medium?
Well, I think it's kind of might sound fun. If you enjoy Minecraft, you might enjoy, and you enjoy messing around in Minecraft, you might enjoy that mod. The interesting thing is this mod actually is not anything new. Um, there have been many mods since very early on in Minecraft that allow you to use computers and construct computers inside and then write small scripts for them. And of course, uh, Minecraft has other devices which are now standard but weren't always, such as the um, little catapults. What are those things called? They
Um,
move blocks.
oh, the Pistons are you talking about?
Yes. Pistons was originally a mod, um, and with pistons, redstone wire, and redstone torches, you can, in essence, also do programming. I saw someone made with a large amount of redstone. Someone actually made a very basic computer that could do arithmetic just by building basic circuits with redstone. So, and pistons, of course, can be used to cause a lot of different and interesting interactions, including, of course, using redstone and redstone wire to move around blocks and to build things for you. So, Minecraft has always had a small instance of if not the very basic, but basic types of programming and engineering.
Definitely, yeah, and I think it's only gotten more true as time has gone on. Um, but this might be something I might look more into myself. I've always liked dabbling around in programming, even though I've never had the discipline to commit to actually learning anything. And while this isn't going to teach you how to go out and write a program per se, it may let you get used to wrapping your head around some programming concepts and thinking the way a program is written, which everyone has told me is really beneficial, even though I can't seem to force my blockhead to do it. So the other article I pulled up for discussion today is about the upcoming release of the Moto 360 smartwatch. Earlier today, there was a leak through BestBuy.com for the Moto 360, showing off its specifications and giving the release price. That price comes in at $250 for the smartphone, or the smartwatch, I should say. And if you need a reminder, the Moto 360 is the kind of famed rounded face smartwatch of the new Android Wear technology. So, the question that Android Central is posing to their visitors is $250 the right price point for an accessory, for something that is completely unnecessary, and while may possibly add easier access to functionality, doesn't add any directly new functionality in and of itself. Um, Personally, I'm on the fence. I really like the watch, but I am not sure if I could drop $250 on it. What do you say, Eric? I mean, is this something that you think you would be willing to pay for?
Although I think it is an attractive device, I don't think I will be wearing a watch ever again, whether it's a smartwatch or not. I kind of was really happy to do away with watches in general as a younger person when I started carrying a cell phone, which kind of serves that purpose. And checking my cell phone is not really a chore for me, at least. So I don't think I'll be picking up a smartwatch regardless of price. And as far as the price of $250 is concerned, you can buy a very nice Android phone for that. So, although it's probably was expensive to develop and expensive to manufacture and all that mumbo jumbo, I still don't really feel it's a passable price.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, the more I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, $250 is you could buy an entire Wii U console for that. I mean, the laptop we talked about at the top of the show is only starting at $199, and that's a full standalone computer. So $250 seems a little steep for something that is just an accessory piece, a very pretty, high technology thing, but at the end of the day, just an accessory. I think I would like to buy one. I like the concept. I like the idea of having my notifications on my wrist. I'm okay with that, but I would feel much more comfortable coming in at maybe a $99 price point, rather than such a high $250 price tag.
You can buy two very passable and nice cell phones for that price, brand new. So looking at $250, I'm thinking that people who have income to spare and really like the idea of having a nice show-offable watch might purchase it. But I don't think it will be a lot of purchases from utilitarian users. And when you want to provide something that uh, fills that need, you're really looking to fill a need for utilitarian users because most people at the end of the day care more about just getting their messages, their notifications, their phone, and their internet. They're not as worried about the fashion or the 3 seconds shaved of getting a buzz or a ding in your pocket versus getting a buzz or a ding on your wrist.
Definitely, I think that sums it up quite nicely.
There's one last thing I'd like to add is that
Yeah,
also now people's wrists are being uh, the that bodily real estate is being used up for more and more people with those pedometer uh, bracelets, like the Jawbone and the Fitbit, which is becoming very popular and not only that, but highly praised as helping people monitor their daily activities and all that. When your wrist has something on it already, you are probably less likely to want to strap another thing on there.
that's a really good point. That I mean, I suppose it's possible that some of the functionality of Fitbits and whatnot could be replicated in these watches at some point. It doesn't seem too far-fetched to throw in some gyroscopes and a few other sensors into the watch. That seems pretty realistic, but at the onset, I haven't heard anybody actually bring up that point because I haven't seen anybody marketing these watches as health device replacements. Which, if you're going to be putting something on your wrist like this, you're if you're the functionality, you're actually giving up functionality if you ditch a health tracker in place of this watch, which is really just a second screen for your phone.
Certainly, and the health trackers aren't necessarily dirt cheap or anything. And if you're trying to combat that functionality, you have to remember that a lot of those devices have batteries that last days, if not a week or more. And their particular apps and services and other devices that work with them specifically can be it can be hard to kind of replicate that. If you have a Fitbit wrist device and you have a Fitbit scale and you're tracking your food and your calories with their service or their app or website or whatever, then to replace all of that functionality is going to be very difficult with one of these Android Wear watches. So, if not impossible.
Very true. Yeah. No, and I'm glad you brought that up because that is something that hadn't crossed my mind at all, as I don't have any of those fitness devices. But that's a really strong point that the wrist is becoming territory that is going to be up for a fight in the in the wearable category.
Yeah, and I can also understand someone saying, well, I can wear both, and that's very possible, but also I don't think that many people want to have things strapped to them all over their body all day.
Right. Very few of us are willing to wear tons of wristbands and things like that, especially the male audience. I mean, not to be sexist in any regard, but traditionally, in at least U.S. society, men tend to not wear wristbands and wear things on our wrist outside of a traditional watch or these new health gadgets. And historically, women have been more willing to wear things on their wrist, like wristbands or bracelets or hair ties and whatnot. And so trying to develop something that's unisex is going to run into those challenges.
Certainly. I I'm not sure if that's going to be a large problem. I think that younger, more technically savvy individuals will find more lenient to gender norms and stereotypes. But that's also a good point, as if you can't only target young people because as they like to purchase, right now the economy in the United States is saying that young people don't have the money to purchase.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if money was no object, sure, I'd drop $250 just to play with it. But it's just not that economy right now. People are holding on to every dollar and justifying every purchase.
Certainly, so it'll be interesting. But on the plus side, it does have the Android Wear and Android integrated services, so it will probably be a little bit more seamless than some of the previous smartwatch attempts.
Well, I guess we'll have to see how this goes. And again, technically, it is a leaked document, so prices could change. It's by no means set in stone. But we'll have to see how this goes and how well it's received once it does officially come out. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up for today. Is there anything you want to share with the listeners?
Not particularly, other than the fact that I love the great outdoors.
Excellent. Well, hopefully I can make that September trip work out, and I'll let you know as those plans come together. I got a few people waiting on me to figure out a campground and actually pick a time frame and work out all those the actual real details of a camping trip.
Groovy.
All right, man. Well, thanks for being on the show. We'll be back again this Thursday. Like I said, around 8 p.m. Pacific time. Hoping to start nailing that down to be a little more exact. And we'll be back with our theme music for the next episode. I promise everyone that. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the show. Please, if this is the first time you stumbled on us, subscribe to the show. Catch more details at techtwiceweekly.com. That's our website. You can also find us on Twitter, Tech Twice Weekly. We're on Facebook. We're on Reddit, although I'll be honest, I haven't taken advantage of the subreddit yet. I promise. I'm working on it. Now that I've got these technical issues tied up, getting our subreddit in gear is going to be my number one priority. So, and I don't want to forget, if you have feedback, please send it in. Feedback at techtwiceweekly.com. I'd love to hear from you listeners. That email's great, Facebook's great, Twitter's great. I don't care. I just want to hear from you people. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see changed, what you want to see kept. Still in the early days of this show, so I'm very flexible, and I'm making the show for you guys about something I'm passionate about. So thank you again for listening. For Eric Fee, I'm Ben White. Have a great night, everybody.